Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everybody. So today we know that why we are gathered here. So my plan is to discuss the application of Paccanīyuddhāra chapter in the Paccanīya chapter. So I didn't translate this, of course, the topic. Anyway, in Pali, it looks quite technical and it's quite difficult to get translate it properly from my side, at least. So I did not try to translate it. So what we are going to discuss is the application of the Paccanīyuddhāra chapter, because there is one chapter called Paccanīyuddhāra in the Patthāna, and how it is applied in the following chapter. So we'll have a look at the terms of Paccanīya and Paccanīyuddhāra. So Paccanīya means the negative conditions. Paccanīyuddhāra means the selection of negative conditions for negative conditions. That's how the Mulapatthana Sayadaw Ashin Narada has translated it. So if I put this in one sentence, it will look like selection of negative conditions for negative conditions in the negative conditions chapter. So it won't look nice. So that's why I just let it be in Pali. So first I will go through the structure of the kusalattika-patthāna and a little bit on the structure of the Patthāna to have an understanding on the topic itself. So first I will go through it. This is not the complete, the full explanation of the structure in the Patthāna, but I'm going to explain you all, because in the commentaries and in Mohavichedani, this structure is explained. So I'm not going to go through the full explanation of the structure, but I'm going through important areas only, which is applicable for our topic. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. So moving into that, the Patthāna, the book itself, the whole treatise itself, it can be divided into two main parts. That is these two main parts, the Mātika-Nikkhepavāra and the Mahāvāra. So, and I forgot to tell one more thing. So during this lecture, during this Dhamma discussion, y'all can interrupt at any moment and ask me questions on what we are discussing. And so it's very much appreciated, because the main objective is to make y'all understand. So instead of waiting till the end of the lecture, we'll make it as just like a classroom, right? So we'll do it in that way, right? So these topics, the Patthāna, the main book, it's divided into two areas, the Mātika-Nikkhepavāra and the Mahāvāra. So I will go through this, what it means as Mātika-Nikkhepavāra and the Mahāvāra. So what is done in the Mātika-Nikkhepavāra, it means what it is done, it is the explanation of the topics in the Patthāna in brief. That's what is done. What are the topics in Patthāna, like nahetyā, nārammaṇapaccayā, and then it's explained. Now it has two sub-chapters, the topics. So whatever is done, essentially it's a brief explanation of the topics. That means the paccayas, the conditions in the Patthāna. So that is what done here. And in the Mahāvāra, it has two areas, the two subtopics, the Pucchavāra and the Vissajjanās. So in the Mahāvāra, the paccayas, which are explained in the Mātika-Nikkhepavāra, they are classified in relation, the basis based on the Abhidhamma Mātika. So Abhidhamma Mātika, it's the Tikka Mātika and Dukkha Mātika, triplets and couplets, using various combinations. So there are so many combinations, in all 24 combinations. So using those 24 combinations, it's explained here in the Mahāvāra. So the Mahāvāra, it has two subtopics. The first one is called the Pucchavāra And the second one is called the Vissajjanās. The Puccavara, it means the questions. All the questions in the Patthāna are included in this Puccavara section. And in the Vissajjanās, all the answers are included there. So regarding to the topic that we are discussing, application of the Paccanīyuddhāra chapter in the Paccanīya chapter, our subject, the area which we are concerned is the kusalattika, right? The kusalattika-patthāna, which is the first patthana of the in the tikka-patthānas, right? So it has 7 chapters: paticca-vāra, sahajāta-vāra, paccaya-vāra, nissaya-vāra, sansatha-vāra, sampayutta-vāra, and paññā-vāra. So there are 7 chapters here. So I have used the translation which was used by which is the translation from the Mula Patthana Sayadaw. So Paticca-vāra is called the dependent chapter. So on, it's explained here. So further going into the structure, I'm not going to go into detail in this, right? Because our main objective is not to go into detail in these 7 varas, right? 7 chapters. So for each of these 7 chapters, from Paticca to Paññā-vāra, there are 4 chapters, 4 subchapters, 4 subsections, we may call it. They are known as Anuloma Paccaniya, Anuloma Paccaniya, and Paccaniya Anuloma. So the Anuloma, it means it's in the positive conditions. It's the preaching. It's based on the regular order. So we look at a couple of examples. So the second one is the Paccaniya. It means the negative conditions. The desana, it's in the reverse order. And the third one is Anuloma Paccaniya. It's translated as positive, negative conditions. So in here, at least 2 paccayas are being preached. And it's a combination of regular order and reverse order. Third one, the fourth one, it's the Paccaniya Anuloma Vara. It's negative and positive conditions. So here, so it's a combination of reversed order and the regular order. So we are looking at these 4 combinations, the four subchapters in each of these 7 chapters, right? So if we put it, if we expand it and put it on the paper, so the Paticca-vāra, it's the first chapter. It has 4 sections: Anuloma, Paccaniya, Anuloma Paccaniya, and Paccaniya Anuloma. And in the Sahajāta, it has Anuloma Paccaniya, Anuloma Paccaniya, and Paccaniya Anuloma. And for the rest of the chapters, for the Paccaya-vāra, Nissaya-vāra, Sansatha-vāra, Sampayutta-vāra, and finally in the Paññā-vāra, it consists of these 4 subsections. And further, we have to go into the structure as well, right? So in the Paticca-vāra, in this Paticca-vāra, okay, draw this line down here. There are 2 main subsections. That is the Vibhanga-vāra and the Sankhya-vāra, right? So Vibhanga-vāra, it's translated as the chapter of classification. That's how the Mula Patthana Sayadaw has translated this, the chapter of classification. And the Sankhya-vāra, it means the chapter of enumeration. So we'll go through a couple of examples to have an idea on what we are discussing, right? Okay, so in Vibhanga-vāra, so I have selected the first 3 paragraphs from the Paticca-vāra. This is the first 3 paragraphs from the Paticca-vāra. So first one, it's explained here as Kusalang Dhammang Paticca, Kusalo Dhammo Uppajjati Hetupaccaya. Moving into the Mula Patthana Sayadaw's translation, dependent on faultless state arises faultless state by root condition, right? So this is how it is translated. On the Kusala Dhammas, there arises dependent on the Kusala Dhammas and by the root condition. So that's how it is translated. So the relationship, it's shown here between the kusala dhammas and the kusala dhammas, right? Kusala dhammang paticca, and it says the kusalo dhammo. So the relationship is shown here like that. So this is the relationship number one. The second one is kusalang dhammang paticca abhyakato dhammo uppajjati hetupaccaya. So the relationship between the kusala and the abhyakata is shown here. And the third one, it is shown here, kusalang dhammam paticca kusaloca abhyakatoca dhamma uppajjanti hetupaccaya. So by the hetupaccaya, the kusala dhammas, they are supporting for the kusala and the abhyakata. So the relationship between kusala and abhyakata is shown here. Now we see here three relationships, kusala, and the second one is kusala and abhyakata, and the third one, it's shown as kusala and kusala abhyakata. So how many relationships that we see here? It's three, right? There are three relationships shown here. Moving to the akusala, it shows another three. So we are looking at 6. And the third one, it is abhyakatan dhammam paticca abhyakato dhammo uppajjati hetupaccaya. So this is the another relationship. It's only one relationship, abhyakata, abhyakato, abhyakata, and abhyakata relationship, right? So we are looking at 3, 6, and including this one, 7. The next one is kusalanca abhyakatanca dhammam paticca abhyakato dhammo uppajjati hetupaccaya. So the relationship between kusala, abhyakata, and the resultant is the abhyakata dhamma. So the relationship which is shown here is kusala abhyakata to the abhyakata dhammas. And finally, akusalanca abhyakatanca dhammang paticca abhyakato dhammo uppajjanti hetupaccaya. So here the relationship between akusala and abhyakata are supporting for the abhyakata dhammas. So how many relationship that we learned here? Altogether 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So these relationships, the number of relationships, for that, the term which is used in the commentaries is called Vissajjana. Vissajjana means the answer. Why we call this as an answer? Because, right, we saw in the Puccavara means the chapter of the questions, right? Vissajjana means the answers, right? So we see how many answers? Altogether 9 answers. Right. And for when we move into the Sankhya-vara means the chapter of enumeration, right? It shows the, okay. So the Sankhya-vara, now we are looking at the Sankhya-vara in the Paticca-vara, right? In the chapter of Paticca-vara, we discussed the relationships here in Anuloma Hetupaccaya, and then we are discussing the Sankhya-vara, an example for Sankhya-vara. So it says here, nahetyā nava, it means in Hetupaccaya, in Paticca-vara, there are 9 answers in total, right? So it shows the number, the 9 answers if found in the Hetu, right? It says the nahetyā nava. And the next one, what we are going to do is to look at an example from the Paccanīya, right? So this is the Paccanīya, an example. Akusalang dhammang paticca akusalo dhammo uppajjati na hetupaccaya. Right? So we look at the translation here. Right. So Sayadaw has translated it as dependent on faulty state arises faulty state by not root condition. Right? So na hetupaccaya. So that's what is explained here, right? So this is one example for the negative conditions. It arises by not root condition, nahetyā. So when we look at the Pali, so this is one relationship, akusala and akusala, right? And here, the next one is abhyakatan dhammam paticca abhyakato dhammo uppajjati na hetupaccaya. So the relationship is shown here as abhyakata and abhyakata, right? So altogether, how many answers we are looking at? How many vissajjana we are looking at? 2 vissajjanas, right? Akusala and akusala, and abhyakata and abhyakata, right? So when we move into the Sankhya of the Paccanīya, we are looking at this Pali, nahetyā dve, which means by not root condition, there are 2 answers. So we see the summary here. So what we saw here is this the Vibhangavara, the chapter of classification, and the Sankhya, the chapter of enumeration. These 2 are connected, right? We see the Vissajjana here, the number of the answers. Answers are directly given, and the summary is given here, like that. We see that relationship. Now this relationship is shown in the first 6 chapters, right? Which means the paticca vara, sahajāta vara, paccaya vara, nissaya vara, sansatha vara, sampayutta vara. So in these 3 chapters, in each of these subtopics, the relationship is shown here, right? We have the Vibhangavara and the Sankhya. So we see this relationship. But when we move into the Paññavara, which is the 7th chapter, the investigation chapter, this chapter, for these last 3 sections, there is no Vibhangavara, right? So here for the Anuloma, so here we have the Vibhanga and the Sankhya, right? For Anuloma, we find this too. But for the Paccanīya, there is a difference. We only have the Sankhya, right? So the Vibhangavara is not present in the Paccanīya, Anuloma Paccanīya, and Paccanīya Anuloma. So between Anuloma and Paccanīya, there is another small chapter called Paccanīyuddhāra, right? So that is the chapter that we are going to discuss today, the Paccanīyuddhāra, the chapter which falls between the Anuloma and the Paccanīya. So the reason to have a chapter like this is to easily understand the next 3 chapters, right? To easily understand the Paccanīya, Anuloma Paccanīya, and Paccanīya Anuloma, we find this small chapter between Anuloma and Paccanīya, right? Because the reason to have this thing, to have the Paccanīyuddhāra chapter, is that these 3 chapters, Paccanīya, Anuloma Paccanīya, and Paccanīya Anuloma, does not have the Vibhangavara here. So that's why you get the Paccanīyuddhāra chapter here, right? So that's what we are going to discuss, right? Actually, it's a very, very small chapter. Just in the Burmese script, it's just 1.5 pages, right? It's in essence, we are just looking at about 15 sentences, 15 paragraphs, but it's very important to have a thorough understanding to understand the next 3 chapters, right? It's a supportive thing. In the commentary, it says that this is not this area, this Paccanīyuddhāra chapter is not preached by the Lord Buddha himself, but it was preached by the Dhammasaṅghāhaka Mahathera. That means the first 500 bhikkhus who attend the first Buddhist council. So they included it here in order to easily understand the next 3 chapters. So that's how it is explained here. But the commentary does not explain why it was not preached by the Lord Buddha himself, but it is explained who did it and the purpose of having this chapter at the end of the Paññāvāra Anuloma. So now we are looking at the term Paccanīyuddhāra. Paccanīyuddhāra. So the reason to call it for the Paccanīyuddhāra means that what we are going to do in the Paccanīyuddhāra is that we will be selecting paccayas which comes in each of the combinations in the kusalattika. So Paccaniya means the negative condition. Uddhara, it means in Pali, withdrawal, pulling out, picking, withdrawal, pulling out. So what is done is essentially, we withdraw, we pull out the paccayas in order to understand the next 3 chapters, right, for the Paccanīya chapters. And also there is a variant reading for the topic of this chapter called Paccayuddhāra. So the first one is called Paccanīyuddhāra, this one is called the Paccayuddhāra. So it means Paccaya Uddhāro, which means Paccaya means the paccayas, Uddhāra means the selection of the paccayas. So this is also correct, because what we are doing in this chapter is selecting the paccayas, right? So in the context, we cannot determine which one is correct, which one is right, right? Because in the context, the both meanings make sense. So the next thing that we are supposed to do is to learn the Paccanīyuddhāra, this small chapter. So there are 15 Vissajjanās in total. We are looking at 15 Vissajjanās in the Paccanīyuddhāra, right? So this is the analysis of the Paccanīyuddhāra, how the terms are coming. So in this column, it says the Paccaya Pada, which means it says the Paccaya or Pada, right? Paccaya, let me throw it, right? Draw it like this. Paccaya, Paccayuppāna, Pada, Padāvasāna, right? So Paccaya means the Paccaya Dhammas, Paccayuppāna means the resultants, right? So for that, we use another term called Pada. So this is this comes in the commentary, and in the same way, the Burmese Sadhus are using this same methodology, same terms to explain this thing, right? So Paccaya, Paccayuppāna, Pada, Padāvasāna. So Pada means here the opening term, Padāvasāna means the ending terms, right? So first one is Kusala Pada. Kusala Pada. The second type is Akusala Pada. Third type is Abhyakata Pada. Fourth type is Kusala Abhyakata Pada. And the fifth one is Akusala Abhyakata Pada. So altogether there are 15, right? So the first one is, oh, what's wrong? Okay, I don't know what's, okay, we'll forget that, right? So Kusala, and the ending term, the opening term is Kusala, and the ending term is Kusala. The opening term is Kusala, the ending term is Akusala. The third one, the opening term is Kusala, the ending term is Abhyakata. This one, the opening term is Kusala, and the ending term is Kusala Abhyakata. So here it's in Pali, we explain it as Kusalo, Kusalassa. Kusalo, in the term, the sentence, it's the kata. Kata means the subject of the sentence. Kusalassa means it's the sampadana of the sentence. Now, what is sampadana in English? I don't know. Sally, please help me. Sampadana, Kusalassa.
Well, genitive, usually it's like genitive, isn't it? Sampadana,
Genitive,
the one
right?
that receives, or the one that receives.
Okay, so it's in genitive case, right? Anyway, okay, so kusalassa. So the first one is kusalo kusalassa, the second one is kusalo akusalassa, the third one is kusalo abhyakatassa, the fourth one is kusalo kusala abhyakatassa. So like in the same manner, there are 4, right? Akusalo, akusalasa, in akusala also, right? There are 4. Akusalo, akusalasa, akusalo, kusalasa, akusalo, abhyakatasa, and the 4th one is akusalo, akusala, abhyakatasa. And there are 3 for the abhyakata. Abhyakato, abhyakatasa, abhyakato, kusalasa, abhyakato, akusalasa. The 4th one is kusala abhyakato, kusala kusalasa. So here the Paccaya Dhammas, it has two topics from the Matika, right? Kusala and abhyakata, kusala abhyakata, kusalasa, kusala abhyakato, abhyakatasa. The 4th one, the 5th one is kusala abhyakato, akusalasa, akusala abhyakato, abhyakatasa. So the total here is 15, right? There are 15 answers. So what we are going to do is to look at the Paccayas, which I explained, which is related to these 15 combinations from the kusalattika. So based on these 15 combinations, the Paccayas are summarized from the Vibhangavara. From the Anuloma Vibhangavara, the Paccayas are summarized into these combinations. That is what we are going to learn, right? That is what is in the Pali, and that's what we are going to learn. As we know that from the 24 Paccayas, only 8 main Paccayas are selected. Not everything is included. Only 8 main Paccayas are selected, right? So nārammaṇa, nasahajāte, upanissaya, purejāte, typo here. Purejāte, paccājāte, kamma, ahara, and indriya. So only these 8 are selected here. So if you all have learned the Patthana from the Burmese tradition, so first they are going to learn is these 8 Paccayas. Based on these 8 Paccayas, they will learn the whole thing. So the source for the Burmese sayadaws to develop this method is coming from the Paccanīyuddhāra and the commentary, right? So this is the source for the sayadaws to develop this method, right? So this, by considering these 8 main Paccayas, the other 16 from the 24, the other 16 Paccayas are included in these 8 main Paccayas. So in the case, if you all have learned in the Myanmar tradition, Burmese tradition, we see 56 Paccayas taught, right? So what it means, I mean, in other words, we can say these 56 Paccayas are included in this. So with that, we'll be moving to here. This is the Paccanīyuddhāra chapter. This is the Pali that we are going to discuss, right? Okay. So the first one is kusalo dhammo kusalasa dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena paccayo sahajāta paccayena paccayo upanissaye paccayena paccayo. So this is the first relationship, kusalo kusalasa, and it includes 3 Paccayas: nārammaṇapaccayena paccayo, sahajāta paccayena paccayo, upanissaye paccayena paccayo. So these 3 Paccayas are included here. Okay, so now if you look at the Paccanīyuddhāra chart, this is again developed by the Burmese sayadaws. If you go through this, so this one is the Paccayas, it's a group of Paccayas are shown in this column, right? And which means the 56 Paccayas we learn in Myanmar. And then in this column, it shows the Paccanīyuddhāra, which means the Paccayas which comes in the Paccanīyuddhāra chapter, which we are discussing at the moment, right? And here it shows the combinations, the 4 Kusala Pada, 4 Akusala Pada, 3 Abhyakata Pada, 2 Kusala Abhyakata Pada, and 2 Akusala Abhyakata Pada. So we look at the first one, kusalo kusalasa. It says kusalo dhammo kusalasa dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena paccayo sahajāta paccayena paccayo upanissaye paccayena paccayo. So here we are looking at how many Paccayas: nārammana, sahajāta, and upanissaye, right? So we are looking at this nārammana, sahajāta, and upanissaye. So from the nārammana, 3 Paccayas are selected, right? From the if you look at the 56 Paccayas, we select 3 Paccayas. That is the nārammaṇapaccayā, that means the merely the ārammana, and the second one is the ārammanādhipati, and the third one is ārammaṇapanissaye. So these 3 Paccayas are selected, right? So these three Paccayas are shown here, right? Ārammana and ārammana, and here we are looking at 2 Paccayas, right? Kusalattika-patthāna, and ārammana is shown here. And next one is ārammanādhipati and ārammaṇapanissaye. So we are looking at 2 Paccayas here. We see that combination here, right? We pick 3 Paccayas from ārammana, from the word nārammaṇapaccayā, right? And then we have the other term called Vissajjanās. So from Vissajjanās, it picked 13 Paccayas. Sahajata matta, that means the Sahajata Paccaya, Hetu, Sahajatādhipati, Aññamanya, Sahajata Nissaya, Sahajata Kamma, Sahajata Indriya, Sahajata Ahara, Sahajata Indriya, Jhana, Magga, Sampayutta, Sahajata Atti, Sahajata Avigata. So from the 15 Paccayas, which is included in the Sahajata, Vipaka and Vipayutta are not applicable here, right? So the 13, excluding the Vipaka and Vipayutta, are excluded because the Vipaka and Vipayutta, they are related with the Abhyakata Dhammas. So it's not applicable here. Then we are looking at the third one, Upanissaya Paccayana Paccayo. The 2 Paccayas are selected, right? So we know in Upanissaya there are 3 types, right? Ārammaṇapaccayā, Anantara-Upanissaya, and Pakatūpanissaya. So Ārammaṇapaccayā was included here, in here, right? In the Ārammaṇapaccayā. So for here, in Upanissaya, you only pick 2 Paccayas to avoid the double counting. So from Anantara-Upanissaya, there are 6 Paccayas. Anantara-Upanissaya, Anantara, Samanantara, Asevana, Natti, and Vigata. From Pakatūpanissaya is also selected, and from that we are looking at Pakatūpanissaya, right? So Kusala-Kusalasa, we are looking at how many Paccayas in total? 3, 16, and 18 Paccayas. Then we move to the second one in the Pali. It means the Kusalo Dhammo Kusalasa Dhammassa ārammaṇapaccayana Paccayo Upanissaya Paccayana Paccayo. So we are looking at, in the combination of Kusalo Akusalasa, we are looking at 2 Paccayas, Ārammana and Upanissaya. So from Ārammana, 3 Paccayas are selected: the ārammaṇamatta, ārammanādhipati, and ārammaṇapanissaye. And from Upanissaya, we select only 1 Paccaya because the ārammaṇapanissaye is already included in ārammana. So from Upanissaya, only the Pakatūpanissaya is selected here, right? And then we move into the third relationship, Kusalo Abhyakatassa. Kusalo Dhammo Abhyakatassa Dhammassa ārammaṇapaccayana Paccayo, Sahajata Paccayana Paccayo, Upanissaya Paccayana Paccayo, Paccajata Paccayana Paccayo, Kamma Paccayana Paccayo. So there are 5 Paccayas here, right? Ārammana, Sahajata, Upanissaya, Paccajata, and Kamma, right? Ārammana, Sahajata, Upanissaya, Paccajata, and Kamma. So from Ārammana, we pick 3 Paccayas: ārammaṇamatta, ārammanādhipati, and ārammaṇapanissaye. From Sahajata, we pick 12 Paccayas: Sahajata matta, Hetu, Sahajatādhipati, Sahajata nissaya, Sahajata kamma, Sahajata ahara, Sahajata indriya, Jhana, Magga, Vipayutta, Sahajata atti, and Sahajata avigata. So 12 Paccayas are picked here. From Upanissaya, we pick 3 Paccayas because Ārammaṇapaccayā was included in Ārammana. So therefore only Pakatūpanissaya and Anantara-Upanissaya are selected, right? So from Pakatūpanissaya, from Anantara, there are 5 Paccayas: Anantara-Upanissaya, Anantara, Samanantara, Natti, and Vigata. From Pakatūpanissaya, there are 2 Paccayas: Upanissaya and Balava Nānakkhanika Kamma. Right? So then we are left with the Paccayāta. From Paccayāta, 4 Paccayas are selected. Paccayāta, Paccayāta Vippayutta, Paccayāta Atti, Paccayāta Avigata. So these 4 are selected. From Kamma, there is only one is selected, one Paccaya, because we know in Kamma there are few types of Kamma, right? The Kamma Paccaya, right? We have the Sahajata Kamma, and Nanakkanika Kamma. And the Nanakkanika Kamma is further divided into Balava Nanakkanika Kamma and Anantara Kamma, Balava Dubbala Nanakkanika Kamma. So, but the Sahajata Kamma was selected here in Sahajata Paccaya, right? So, because it was selected here, it's not picked in Kamma. And from Upanissaya, Balava Nanakkanika was selected, right? Here it was selected. So therefore, only the third type, the Balava Dubbala Nanakkanika Kamma, is selected here. So that's how we extract the Paccayas. And then we move into the fourth relationship in the Kusala. It is Kusalo Kusalabhyakatassa. It says in the Pali, Kusalo Dhammo Kusalassacha Abhyakatassacha Dhammassa Hetupaccayena Paccayo. So Kusalo Dhammo. So this is the Paccaya. Kusalassacha Abhyakatassacha means this is the Paccayuppanna from the Sahajata Paccaya. So only one Paccaya is given here. That is the Sahajata Paccaya. But from this Sahajata Paccaya, 11 Paccayas are selected. From the 11 Paccayas, that means the all Paccayas from the Sahajata small group and the Sahajata large group are selected, right? In the classification. So from the Sahajata small, Hetu, Adipati, Ahara, Kamma, Indriya, Jhana, and Magga. From Sahajata large, it means the 4 Paccayas, Sahajata, Sahajata Nissaya, Sahajata Atti, and Sahajata Avigata. So these 4 is selected. And then we move into the Akusala Pada, right? So fifth one, that is the fifth one, Akusalo Akusalassa. So in the Pali it says, Akusalo Dhammo Akusalassa Dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena Paccayo, Sahajata Paccayena Paccayo, Upanissaya Paccayena Paccayo. We have the Pali like that. So this is similar to Kusalo Kusalassa. So it's not explained here. The pulling out of Paccaya, the withdrawal of the Paccayas are same to this one, Kusalo Kusalassa. The theory, it's the same. Then we move into the sixth one, Akusalo Kusalassa. It says, Akusalo Dhammo Kusalassa Dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena Paccayo, Upanissaya Paccayena Paccayo. So there are two Paccayas here, Ārammana and Upanissaya, right? Ārammana and Upanissaya. From Ārammana, only one Paccaya is selected, right? Now, if we compare this with the Kusalo Akusalassa, there were 3 Paccayas, Ārammana, Ārammanādhipati, Ārammana Upanissaya, but here it's only the Ārammana Paccaya is selected, right? From the Upanissaya, 1 Paccaya is selected, only the Pakatu Upanissaya is selected here. And then we move into the seventh relationship, Akusalo Abhyakatassa. So in the Pali it says, Akusalo Dhammo Abhyakatassa Dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena Paccayo, Sahajata Paccayena Paccayo, Upanissaya Paccayena Paccayo, Paccahajata Paccayena Paccayo, Kamma Paccayena Paccayo. So there are 5 Paccayas here, Ārammana, Sahajata, Upanissaya, Paccahajata, and Kamma. So from Ārammana, the Ārammana Matta is selected. And from Sahajata, 12 Paccayas are selected from the Sahajata group, excluding the Anyamanya, Sampayutta, and Vipaka. Okay, so we have 12 Paccayas, Hetu, Adipati, Sahajata, Nissaya, Kamma, Ahara, Indriya, Jhana, Magga, Vippayutta, Atti, and Navigata. So from Upanissaya, there are 2 Paccayas, Anantara Upanissaya, Pakatu Upanissaya. From Anantara Upanissaya, 5 Paccayas are selected, Anantara, Samanantara, Upanissaya, Nati, and Vigata. From Upanissaya, Pakatu Upanissaya, and Balava Nanakkanika Kamma there. From Paccayāta, there are 4 Paccayas: Paccayāta, Paccayāta Vippayutta, Paccayāta Atti, Paccayāta Avigata. And from Kamma, 1 Paccaya, it's the Balava Dubbala Nānakanika Kamma. And moving into the 8th combination, it is the Akusalo Akusalabhyakatassa. The Pali, it says, Akusalo Dhammo Akusalasya cha Abhyakatasya cha Dhammassa Sahajata Paccayena Paccayo. So this is similar to Kusalo Kusalabhyakatassa, right? It's similar to the 4th one. This one is similar, right? So it's not explained again. And then we move into the 9th one. That means the Abhyakato Abhyakatassa. The Pali, it says, Abhyakato Dhammo Abhyakatassa Dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena Paccayo Sahajata Paccayena Paccayo Upanissaye Paccayena Paccayo Purejata Paccayena Paccayo Pacchahajata Paccayena Paccayo Ahara Paccayena Paccayo Indriya Paccayena Paccayo. Like that. So there are 7 Paccayas here in the relationship from between the Abhyakata and Abhyakata Dhammas, right? So the 7 Paccayas from the Ārammana, there are 8 Paccayas are picked up here: Ārammana Matta, Adhipati, Nissaya, Upanissaye, Purejata, Vippayutta, Atti, and Avigata. And from Sahajata, all 15 Paccayas in the Sahajata group, they are selected. And from Upanissaye, the Ārammana Upanissaye, it was selected in the Ārammana. Therefore, from the Upanissaye, Anantara Upanissaye and Pakata Upanissaye are selected. So from Anantara Upanissaye, 6 Paccayas are there: Anantara Upanissaye, Anantara, Samanantara, Asevana, Nathi. 6 Paccayas are there. From Pakata Upanissaye, we have the Pakata Upanissaye Paccaya.
But just 5.
I'm sorry.
So just Anantara Upanishaye, only 5. Maybe you want to add the Vigata.
Oh, yes. The same mistake I've done here, right? Yes. Okay. So there are 6 Paccayas, right? Anantara Upanishaye, Anantara, Samanantara, Asevana, Natti, and Vigata. Okay. Thanks for reminding it. And then from Pakata Upanishaye, we have one here. That's the Pakata Upanishaye. From the Purejata, there are 6 Paccayas. The Ārammana Purejata, we know the Ārammana Purejata, the Purejata Paccaya, it's 2-folded, right? 2 groups are there. It's 2-folded. The Ārammana Purejata and Vattu Purejata. So the Ārammana Purejata, it was selected in Ārammana. And so here, to avoid the double counting, we are only selecting the Vattu Purejata. So from Vattu Purejata, there are 6 Paccayas, right? Vattu Purejata, Nissaya, Indriya, Vippayutta, Atti, Avigata. So there are 6 here. From the Paccayāta, the 4 Paccayas, the Paccayāta, Vippayutta, Paccayāta Atti, and Paccayāta Avigata. When it comes to the Ahara, we know the Ahara Paccaya, it's also two-folded, the Namahara and the Rupahara. The Namahara, it was included in the Sahajata, right? Here we see it, right? The Sahajata Ahara here. So therefore, from Ahara, only the Rupa Ahara is selected here. So from the Rupa Ahara, 3 Paccayas are selected: Rupa Ahara, Atti, Avigata, which means the Rupa Ahara Atti, and Rupa Ahara Avigata. From the Indriya, it's 3-folded. It has 3: Sahajata Indriya, Purejata Indriya, and Rupa Jivita Indriya. So Sahajata Indriya was selected in the Sahajata group, and the Purejata Indriya, it was selected in the Purejata group, right here. So therefore, here we only we select the Rupa Jivita Indriya. From Rupa Jivita Indriya, there are 3 Paccayas: Rupa Jivita Indriya, Atti, Avigata, which means the Rupa Jivita Indriya, Atti, and Rupa Jivita Indriya, Avigata. Then we move into the 10th one, the 10th relationship, it is the abhyakato kusalassa. Says abhyakato dhammo kusalassa dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena paccayo upanissaye paccayena paccayo purejāta paccayena paccayo. So there are 3 paccayas here: ārammana, upanissaya, and purejāta. And from ārammana, there are 8 paccayas: ārammana matta, adhipati, nissaya, upanissaya, purejāta, vippayutta, atti, and navigata. Right? All 8 paccayas which comes in the ārammana group comes here in abhyakato kusalassa. The ārammana upanissaya, it was selected here, right, in ārammana. So therefore, from upanissaya, anantara upanissaya and pakata upanissaya are selected. Here also I have missed the vigata, right?
Here it says 5. I don't know. Here for some reason it says 5. And before we also had that it was 5.
Okay, let me explain it. Yes. So from anantara upanissaya, there are 5: anantara upanissaya, anantara, samanantara, natti, and vigata. The question from Syale was that here we are looking at 5 paccayas and sometimes we are looking at 6 paccayas, right? So that is because of the asevana paccaya. The asevana paccaya, the combination is kusalo kusalassa, akusalo akusalassa, and abhyakato abhyakatassa. So now we are looking at abhyakato kusalassa, then we don't find the asevana paccaya here, right? And from pakata upanissaya, it's only 1 paccaya, so it's only the pakata upanissaya. And from the purejāta, there are 5 paccayas. The ārammana purejāta was selected in ārammana here. So therefore, the vattu purejāta is selected here, right? Because the ārammana purejāta, it was selected in ārammana. So from vattu purejāta, there are 5 paccayas selected: vattu purejāta, nissaya, vippayutta, atti, and navigata. Right? So 5 paccayas. We are looking at 5 paccayas here. Then we are moving into the 11th relationship: abhyakato akusalassa, abhyakato dhammo, akusalassa dhammassa nārammaṇapaccayena paccayo, upanissaye paccayena paccayo, purejāta paccayena paccayo. So this is similar to abhyakato kusalassa, which means the 10th one, right? It is similar. The extraction, the pulling out of the paccaya are similar to this one. Then we move into the 12th one, that is the kusala abhyakato kusalassa. It says kusalocha abhyakatocha dhamma kusalassa dhammassa, and it says, it doesn't have the karana Pali. It says sahajātaṃ purejātaṃ. Right? This is the missaka paccayas. So this is the 3 paccayas from the sahajāta, purejāta, missaka. So from here, there are 3 paccayas are selected: nissaya, atti, and here it should be avigata, right? One is missing. So nissaya, atti, and navigata. So you're looking at 3 paccayas here. And moving into the 13th combination, it's kusala abhyakato abhyakatassa. Kusalocha abhyakatocha dhamma abhyakatassa dhammassa. Then it says sahajātaṃ paccājātaṃ āhāraṃ indriyam. So from here, 8 paccayas are selected: sahajāta, paccājāta āhāra missaka, and paccājāta indriya missaka. So from sahajāta, 4 paccayas are selected from the sahajāta main group, right? From the sahajāta. So the sahajāta large paccayas: sahajāta, sahajāta nissaya, atti, and navigata. From paccājāta āhāra missaka, 2 paccayas are selected: paccājāta āhāra missaka atti, paccājāta āhāra missaka avigata. So these 2 are selected. And from paccājāta indriya missaka, 2 paccayas are selected: paccājāta indriya missaka atti, paccājāta indriya missaka avigata. So we are looking at 2 paccayas here, right? In the 14th one, akusala abhyakato akusalassa, it says akusalocha abhyakatocha dhamma akusalassa dhammassa, and it says sahajātaṃ purejātaṃ. So this is similar to kusalabhyakato kusalassa, means the 12th one, right? The extraction of the paccayas to the 12th one. And the 15th, the final one, akusalabhyakato abhyakatassa, that means akusalocha abhyakatocha dhamma abhyakatassa dhammassa sahajātaṃ paccayātaṃ āhāraṃ indriyam. So this one is similar to not 14, it's 13. Okay, this is similar to the 13th one, right? This one, similar to kusalabhyakato abhyakatassa. So in summary, for each of the main paccayas, right? So the main paccayas are the first stage, right? For these main paccayas, right? For these main paccayas, for nārammaṇa, we have 9 Vissajjanās, which means the 9 answers. For sahajāta, there are 9. For upanissaye, 9. For purejāta, 9. For paccayāta, 9. For kamma, 2. Ahara, 1. And indriya, we have 1. For the missaka paccayas, for the 3 missaka paccayas, for sahajāta, purejāta, missaka, there are 2 answers. Paccayāta missaka, 2 answers. And finally, paccayāta indriya missaka, there are 2 answers. Right? So in summary, we are looking at this number of Vissajjana for each of these main paccayas. Okay, so any questions till now?
Bhante, I will be like a child now and I'll ask a child's question. What for? You had to put it all into groups, you know? So you took, or you, not you, but anyway, so whoever took the Vibhangavara, no, and from it extracted, making it into groups. And then now what you did something, just the opposite action. It seems so complicated. What for? Sorry for asking.
Yes, I mean, that's what we are going to do now. That's exactly what we are going to do now. I mean, we are now it comes to the application, right? So we look at the topic, the application of the Paccanīyuddhāra in Paccanīya. So we just learn what? We just learn the Paccanīyuddhāra.
But just my question is that what I see, okay, so so basically you take the Vibhangavara where you have all this, like, I don't know, Aramanadipati or whatever, all this you have there. And then you group it into, oh, this is Aramana group, this is this group. So, okay, we just named that. So, okay, we get only these numbers. But then now when you were explaining, you actually did what you did. You did the reverse action.
Right,
you
yes.
took that Paccanīyuddhāra and expanded it back into Vibhanga, basically.
Yes.
So
yes.
what for? Why?
Yes. So we'll move into the chapter now, right? And we learn about it, right?
Just like a child. Sorry, no.
I mean, it's a very reasonable question. We talked about like more than 1 hour and 15 minutes, and we still don't know what we are doing. So, I mean, it's okay. The question is very, it's very good in this context. Okay. So what we discussed was this. So what we discussed here was this chapter, Paccanīyuddhāra, right? Now we move into the Paccanīya. Right, so this is where the application comes. So in the Paccanīya, we told that there is no Vibhangavara, and we only find the Saṅkhya-vara. So in Saṅkhya-vara, it have like Suddha Saṅkhya and Missaka Saṅkhya. Suddha means you only have one paccaya, and you denote Saṅkhya. Saṅkhya means a number, right? And the rest, right? Dukkha, Tikka, like that, Chatukka. So there are combinations. These are called the Missaka Saṅkhya, which means that which have 2 or more paccayas, right? The second one we look at nahetyā, nārammaṇapaccayā, pannarasa, like that. Okay, so now what we are going to do is to explain this sentence. how to apply the theory that we learned to explain this 15 Vissajjanās. So what is the meaning here? Nahetyā pannarasa, right? What is the meaning? 15 answers from nahetu, right? From nahetu. So this chart is the summary of the Paccanīyuddhāra that we discussed right now, right? So it includes all these, the main groups, the main 8 paccayas, and the 3 types of nissaka here. And the related other paccayas are included here, right? So the hetu, right? From this chart, what we are going to do is in the sahajāta small category, sahajāta small group. So the hetu paccaya, it's a portion. It's only a part of the sahajāta. Do you get that point? It's a part of the sahajāta, right? So what we did was like what in the Paccanīyuddhāra, we know how many Vissajjanās which is applicable for the sahajāta, right? So how many were there? Like I think about 9, right? 9 were applicable for the sahajāta. So and when we are learning the sahajāta paccayana paccayo, in the term which we learned in the sahajāta paccayana paccayo in the Paccanīyuddhāra, we included hetu there, right? We said now in sahajāta, these paccayas are applicable, right? So one of them is hetu. So, right? So hetu, it falls here for the sahajāta small category. And we are looking at this line, right? These 7 paccayas, so the 7 combinations, I'm sorry, the 7 combinations. So from now, how many Vissajjanās are there in total for the Paccanīyuddhāra, for the Vibhangavāra? There are 15 in total, right? For hetu, how many Vissajjanās are there? Shown here, right? 7 is shown there, right? So nahetyā means the dhammas, the nahetyā pannarasa means the combinations, the relationships which are not applicable for hetu, right? Am I clear? Yes. Okay, good. So so from this 15, we have to deduct this 7 Vissajjanās, right? So from this, even though we deduct this part, now just assume that we are removing this section. We remove this section. So even though we remove this section, the total count, it does not change. Why? Because it's a portion, it's a part of hetu. It's only a section of the sahajāta. Do you get that point? No. Oh, okay. Let me explain it in a different way. Okay, just think that this is not here, right? So when we add up all these things, excluding the Vissajjanās from hetu, Vissajjanās from hetu, the others will remain here. Why? Even though we deduct, now say for example, we deduct kusalattika-patthāna here, right? Now I'm talking about specifically, I'm talking about this point, right? Kusalattika-patthāna, right? I'm talking about this. So we remove kusalattika-patthāna from hetu. Now what we see from this chart, from nārammaṇa, you find the kusalattika-patthāna combination here, right? From nārammaṇa, you see the combination, nārammaṇa kusalattika-patthāna, the relationship in nārammaṇapaccayā, and in sahajāta great, right? Including the sahajāta paccayas, including the other paccayas, other combination, the sahajāta great and the other sahajāta paccayas, we see the kusalattika-patthāna relationship. Even though we remove the hetu from kusalattika-patthāna, we still find the kusalattika-patthāna combination because it is applicable in nārammaṇa. it is applicable in sahajāta, it is applicable in upanissaye. So even though we remove the hetu from that, it does not change. Do you get that point? So the same theory we have to applicable for each of these things, each of these points, right? All 7 have to apply this. So it does not change, right? So if you look at this one, that is the kusalo abhyakatasa. We find the ārammana, we find it in the sahajāta, right? It does not get removed. If you look at this one, this is the kusala abhyakatasa, right? So in kusala abhyakatasa, even though we remove the hetu, we have the sahajāta grade here. For the akusala also, it's the same, right? Akusalo akusalasa, even though you remove it from the hetu, it's clear, right? It's there, it's not reduced, it's remaining. And if you remove the from the hetu, from akusalo abhyakatasa, there are other combinations in ārammana, in sahajāta grade, sahajāta vipayutta, anantara, and so forth. We find this set, right? So it does not change.
Not hetu. Not
Sorry?
hetu.
Not,
No, I'm just thinking how it relates to I'm still not getting what you mean by not changing. What does it mean not changing? So I'm just thinking about the different groups. So
all right, okay, I'll move into another paccaya, so it will be easy to understand, because in hetu you get all 15 together. That's why we get this question.
yes, yes.
Okay, I'll make it easier to move if I move to the
Perhaps is it a Avigata? I think it's 9, which is slightly different.
Yes, I think it would be easier.
No Avigata. So for example,
nahetyā, nānantare. Okay, we'll look at this one. Nasahajāte. Ekadasa means
11.
we are looking at only 11,
yes.
right? So okay, we'll derive the answer for 11. So when you consider the sahajāta, that means the sahajāta grade, right? The sahajāta paccaya, the whole sahajāta paccaya itself, right? So what we are supposed to do from the, if you pick from this chart, sahajāta grade is applicable for all this section, right? If you say like the dhammas which are not arisen as a resultant of sahajāta, we have to remove the whole section. Why? Because all the paccaya and paccayuppāna in the sahajāta, it falls here, right? It falls everywhere, right? In sahajāta small, in sahajāta great, and the sahajāta the sahajāta middle part, it falls here. So which means we are supposed to deduct this entire part. All the vissajjana from the sahajāta group has to be deducted. So when we deduct the sahajāta, we have to remove the entire thing, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because all the paccaya and paccayuppāna in the sahajāta group, they are related with the sahajāta paccaya. So if you say the dhammas which are not arisen as a resultant of sahajāta, we have to remove all 15 paccayas from there. So we remove the entire section, right? So after removing this entire section, we have to have a look what are the vissajjana which is remaining here. Now we are removing this section, sahajāta, right? So when you remove this ārammana group is remaining, right? So from ārammana group, how many paccayas are, how many vissajjana there are in total? If you consider the most number of vissajjana.
9.
Yes, we are looking at this 9 vissajjana, right? So considering this 9 as the basis, we'll see what are the additions, what are the changes. In the ārammana group, the vissajjanas are included here, right? The 7 vissajjanas are included here, right? So the same with here also, right? from the third part and the fourth part. We are not talking about sahajāta, we are excluding it here. Then we are moving into this upanissaye paccaya, right? So upanissaye paccaya, in the upanissaye group, right? The upanissaye group, how many paccayas, how many vissajjanas are there in total if you consider the most number? We are looking at this?
9.
9, right? So then we'll compare this 9, right? So it means the kusalasa, we have it here, right? Then kusalo akusalasa, we have it here. Then kusalo abhyakatasa, we have it in nārammaṇa, right? And then akusalo akusalasa, we have it in both cases. Akusalo abhyakatasa, we find it. Then akusalo abhyakatasa, we find it. And then for the 3 abhyakata vissajjana, right? Abhyakato abhyakatasa, we find it here. Then abhyakato kusalasa, we find it here. And abhyakato akusalasa, we find it here, right? So even though the upanissaye, the vissajjana from the upanissaye group is added, will it change the total number of upanissaye? I'm sorry, will it change the total number of vissajjana in here? Even though upanissaye is added, because it's already included in the nārammaṇa, right? Okay, so we are done with 2 groups. Then we move into the purejāta group, right? So we move into this one. So when we move into this part, we are looking at only this portion, right? Abhyakato, abhyakatasa, abhyakato kusalasa, and abhyakato akusalasa. So all these three, it's included in here, right? So it's not going to change anything. Okay, now we move into the next one, which is the paccayāta. So paccayāta, we are looking at kusalo abhyakatasa, akusalo abhyakatasa, and abhyakato abhyakatasa. So those 3 vissajjana, they are also included in here, right? So it doesn't change anything for the total count. And the next one is from the kamma group, that is the balava, dubbala, nanakkanika kamma. So we are looking at 2 vissajjana, kusalo abhyakatasa, akusalo abhyakatasa. Those are the 2 vissajjana, right? So they are already included in this 9, right? So it doesn't change anything. Then we move into the ahara. Here we find it abhyakato abhyakatasa. It's already included. It doesn't change anything, right? And then we move into the next one. This is the indriya. So indriya also we only have 1 vissajjana for the rupa jivit indriya. So it means it is not going to change anything, right? So we are just looking at only 9 vissajjana. And we move to the next one, the next 3 areas. That means the missaka paccayas, sahajāta, purejāta, missaka paccayas. So in sahajāta, purejāta, missaka paccayas, we find the word sahajāta here, right? We find this word sahajāta here, which means in the paccaya dhammas, there are sahajāta paccaya dhammas. So because of that, we'll deduct this one as well, right? So in addition to all the paccayas in the sahajāta group, we'll deduct this part as well. And if we move into the missaka paccayas, the other missaka paccaya, the paccājāta ahara missaka paccaya, we have a new vissajjana here, which was not included previously. You get this point, right? So this vissajjana, it was not included here in this 9. So this becomes the 10th one. And this vissajjana also, the final one, the akusalo abhyakatasa, this was also not included, and this becomes the 11th one. So I'm sorry, the final one, the paccājāta indriya missaka, we find the same vissajjana, so it does not change the total count, right? Because it's already included here. These 2, this vissajjana and this vissajjana, kusala abhyakatasa and kusala abhyakato abhyakatasa and akusala abhyakatas is already included here. Right? So it doesn't change the total number. So how many we are looking at? This is the final answer, right? 11. So that's why we saw in Pali, nasahajāte ekadasa.
So basically, can I just check? So for hetu, because we take this, hetu is in sahajata, small.
Yes.
So we take this out and then we look at other answers which are not, which are standing out. And so we then end up having 15, because in that case we have to add more, if you like, we are looking at each group and then finding the answer. Basically the same idea is there, right?
Yes.
So so for example, if we look at, so for hetu, it would be, we look at the sahajata, but we are only taking out this small sahajata, but the number is still 9, so that is included. So we start with the basic 9 and then we add the answer.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's how we get 15.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
So
yes.
we're looking at this sahajata small here.
Yeah.
Right. So we deduct all this part. Right? Okay. I should have. Okay. We deduct this part, right? We are going to deduct it. So here, from here, we are looking at
9. Yes.
Yes.
And then from sahajata grade as well, 9.
Yes, from sahajata grade. From sahajata grade, yes, 9. But we are taking the Vissajjana, which was not included previously.
Not included in
that is called the
kusalattika-patthāna.
Yes, nahetyā. It's called in Pali.
And akusalattika-patthāna.
Yes.
There's one.
So, okay. So from this 9, so what we are going to add up?
So kusalattika to
this one, right? Yes. We are adding this one. Kusalo abhyakatas, we are adding. And from here, we are adding
yes.
akusalo abhyakatas, so we are adding it up. And then we are adding these 2 as well. Right? So we are adding this 4. So we are looking at 13 here. At the moment, we are looking at 13. Right? From this 9, we are at this 4. And you can remember in the summary, all the paccayas up to this point were included here. Can you remember? The upanissaya was included here. The purejata was included here. Pacchadata was included in this count. The kamma was included in this count. Rupahara was included in this count. Indriya was included in this count. So only the difference, it came from where? From the missaka paccayas, right? Now we are looking at these missaka paccayas. Here we find this what? Sahajata, purejata, missaka, which was not included before, which were not included before these 2 is Vissajjana. Do we get it? These 2, kusalabhyakato, kusalasa, was not included here. Akusalabhyakato, akusalasa was not included here. So from here we are getting 2. Right? So we add up 2, and this 2, Paccayatahara missaka, we have kusalabhyakato abhyakatassa. Right? And akusalabhyakato abhyakatassa. But they were already included here. So we are not going to add up this part. Right? So we add up this 13 and 2. So this is the final answer.
I have a child's method. Can I share my child's method?
Yes.
A child's
please.
method is just cover whatever you're taking out and check each column. If there is any column empty, just minus, you know, if minus empty columns, 15 minus empty columns, that's all. No need to think. Child's method.
Well, just assume that we don't have a child.
Can I just ask, I think this, because Sahajata great, I'm not quite sure how we are taking this, because we are, if we look at kusala bhyagada, this column, can it be related by hetu? Because
yes, it's related by hetu. So I mean, in the Burmese method of getting the sarupatta, that means the ayakau, in ayakau, we remove the hetu paccaya from the sahajata. So that's how we get the ayakau for this one, for the sarupatta for this one. So you say, when you say nahetyā pannarasa, so we will say like the entire nārammaṇapaccayā. Then from sahajata, it says the sahajata paccaya minus the hetu paccaya. That's how it is explained. Right. So we don't take the whole thing. It says like hetu pissi chinto, like that it says. Remove it. Right? So not the entirety of the sahajata is included here. Only the part which are excluding the hetu paccaya is considered here. So that's why I think now Sally finds the answer for her question, right? So that's why we learned, we say we go to 15 relationships, and then we considered 8 paccayas, and we looked what is going inside to each of these things. That's the reason that we considered this thing, the paccayas which fall into each of the main 8 paccayas.
Still, I think it's so complicated, considering that patthana is not just, you know, kusalattika, it's like a lot of combinations and, you know, all the tikkas in any order, in positive, negative, for everything to do this. It's just, I don't know, mind-blowing.
I mean, I got another question. I don't know. So this chant, does it only apply to kusalattika? What about the other ones?
For other tikkas, there are different Paccanīyuddhāras. I have not studied them, of course. I have just studied the kusalattika. For the Vedanattika also, there is a Paccanīyuddhāra. I think for almost all paccayas in kusalattika, I don't know the rest. It's like a huge ocean.
Yes,
right?
you have all different in each tikka-patthāna, in each dukkha-patthāna, in each tikka-dukkha-patthāna. You have them everywhere. But they actually they are not stated explicitly, because I've just finished this week. I've finished my chanting of the whole patthana. So now I get so I get now the idea of the, you know, what's in there and what is, you know, what is stated explicitly and what is not stated explicitly. So you
latest tikkas, they have very short abbreviations. I mean, they just skip.
Just as an example, and you have to do it yourself. Do everything yourself.
Yes, you cannot write it. It's so long.
Yes.
Okay.
If it was explicit, never finish chanting, you know.
No.
The Patthāna for one, I don't know, month or for 1 year or for how long, I don't know.
It will take many lifetimes, I think.
Yes, because I think Myanmar Seattle, as far as I know, is they try to expand it in some ways, but not fully. So yes. Thank you.
Yes, but so this part is okay, and
Yes.
is there anything else like to when you take the two in like?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. What is taught? What is exactly what what is taught in Myanmar? Like is like we learn this for this. All this is called like, okay. Let me share the. I'll share this time the screen for sure. Okay, so this is the Suddha Sankhya-vara, right? Paccanīya Suddha Sankhya-vara. So all this starting from nahetyā. First we'll explain this thing, right? And the moving into the when it comes to moving to the combination for the Missaka Sankhya, there are a few rules which is explained by the shadows, right? In which combinations which Vissajjanās are reduced, which are deducted. It's like that. Shall I do one example? I mean, ideally, if we are ideally continuing this class, right, we should finish this thing, the Suddha Sankhya. If the Suddha Sankhya is clear, it's going to be very easy. Okay, so we look at one Pali, right? So this is the first rule, as far as I remember, which is taught by the Burmese shadows. This is nārammaṇapaccayā na upanissaye terasa. So it means 13 Vissajjanās when Nārammaṇa and Upanissaye both are removed. Right, so we are going to do that right now. So what we are going to do is to remove the Nārammaṇa and Upanissaye both. Right, so we are removing this part. Nārammaṇa, and then we are removing the Upanissaye, right? Then now we have to look at the Vissajjanās when these two paccayas are removed, right? So when you remove the Nārammaṇa, all the paccayas in the Nārammaṇa group are removed, right? When you remove the Upanissaye, all the paccayas in the Upanissaye group is removed, everything. So now we are looking at the nasahajāte group, right? So we are looking at this group. So in this group, what is the most number which comes under Vissajjanās? 9, right? For this one, for the nasahajāte grade, right? So all the other paccayas are included in the Vissajjanās in the nasahajāte grade group. Then we'll be adding up. So from Purejāta,
we have 2.
Yeah, from Purejāta, you see, from Purejāta, will it add up? It's included here. Okay, this is adding up, right? Abhyakato kusalasa is adding up because it's not included previously. And then, yes, this 2 is adding up, right?
Yep.
So there are two coming from here. And from Paccayuddhāra, it's already included, right? In Sahajāta, in this 9, it's already included. Kamma is already included. Ahara and Indriya are already included, right? And then the Sahajāta Purejāta, we find this Kusalabhyakato, Kusalasa, and Kusalabhyakato, Akusalasa. These two, Kusalabhyakato, Kusalasa, and Akusalabhyakato, Abhyakatasa. So these two is added here. So we are looking at 13, right? 13. And this one, Paccayuddhāra Missaka and Paccayuddhāra Indriya Missaka, these Vissajjanās are already included in this 9. So it's not going to change. So the total number is 13. So this is one combination that is learned. So like that, I think in total, we learn about maybe 9 or 10 combinations like that. That is enough to learn the whole thing, whole theory. In Myanmar, they have the soundbo, the small poems, right? Can we call them as poems to memorize this? How many Vissajjanās which comes when nārammaṇa and upanissaye are removed, like that. So it teaches this theory. How many is removed? How many Vissajjanās are derived when nārammaṇa and upanissaye are removed, like that. So this is one point that is learned. So like that, there are about 10, maybe 10, about 10 points which you are supposed to learn. So using that theory, we can go through the whole thing.
And for the combination on the positive and negative, we use the same table. Is it like nahetyā nārammaṇa, for example? If it's nahetyā nārammaṇa, this many, for example, then you take hetu and you take out the nārammaṇa.
So you're asking Siale whether we are using this table, right?
If it's applicable to for these sections as well.
I think it could be done, but I have never done it because once you are thorough with this section, you don't need to do that. Because first it should be done on theory. I mean, it should be correct. What you're suggesting is correct. You don't need the table after some point, right? From like we learn the Suddha Sankhya, right? We learn this part very thoroughly. After thoroughly and learning this area, Paccanīyuddhāra, right? So when it's clear, so then we learn those rules. I told there are maybe about 10 rules. So we learn them. And when you move it, here now we start from like, this is the hetu, right? The Sankhya for the hetu, nahetyā. So the mula is nahetu. So then it goes until ekavisa. And then the mula becomes nārammaṇa. The nārammaṇapaccayā comes. So like that, it goes for all 24 paccayā. So when you do this exercise, after that part, we go to the negative positive combination, the positive negative combination and the positive negative combination. I think in that part, we don't need it. To refer the table. I'll think more about it and I will try to provide you an answer from that, right? Okay, so any other questions?
I've got one question, which is a general one. So you mentioned at the beginning the term Mahāvāra, and that one, do you know where it's from? Is it from commentaries? Or
yes,
yeah,
commentary. This classification is from the commentary. I think yes, it's from the commentary and also the Moha Vichedani also we have it. Moha Vichedani also it's considered as a commentary.
Okay.
For the Pali, it's a concise commentary for the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Now there are small things to learn when it comes to the other paccayas. if you say nārammaṇapaccayā, so there are small things to learn, small theories. Let's hope that we can discuss one day.
Thank you so much
your
for the
Vietnamese
documents we got in advance, and also especially for the last chart. This is, we can really apply. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu. So I think all this hard work, it belongs to, as I told earlier, it belongs to the Mahatheras who brought up this Dhamma to this day, and also the Burmese who took a great effort, took years to complete this thing. So we'll transfer the merits to, and we'll recite these stanzas, right, from the final chapter from the Abhidhamma commentary. These stanzas written by the Buddha Ghosa Mahathera. So from that, we'll transfer the merits. So we'll transfer the merits which we accumulated during the last 2 hours by teaching and discussing and learning the supreme words of Buddha. And from this kusala karma, may all the beings in this world and the other worlds be happy, healthy, and peaceful. May our kusala karma be a supportive factor for all the beings to attain Nibbana. May this kusala karma be a supportive factor for us to attain Nibbana. So with that wish, we'll recite these stanzas and transfer the merits. Yam patthāna kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa ñatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukaya patipattiya asokamanupāyāsaṁ nibbāna sukhamuttamang chirang tiṭṭhatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarava sabbepi satta kālena samma devo pavassatu yatharakkhīnsu purāna surājāno tathevimang raja rakkhatu dhammena attanova pajang imaya dhammānu dhamma patipattiya buddhaṃ pujemi imaya dhammānu dhamma patipattiya dhammaṃ pujemi imaya dhammānu dhamma patipattiya sanghaṃ pujemi addhaimaya patipattiya jati jara vyādi maranamha parimuccissāmi idam me puññaṃ āsavakkaya vahang hotu idam me puññaṃ nibbānassa paccayo hotu mama puñña bhāgaṃ sabba sattānaṃ bhājemi te sabbe me samang puñña bhāgaṃ labhantu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Bhante.
Okay, sadhu. And I think we should thank Syale Piyadasi also because for requesting this class to explain this section, because she asked me this question, and then I said, okay, I'll explain this to you. It's not very difficult to explain it. And then she said, okay, Bhante, we'll wait for a little bit and we'll do it. We'll ask the other enthusiasts for Patthāna, so it will be benefit for many. So she had that noble wish. So we'll say sadhu for Syale as well, for her kusala, to bring all good hearts to this discussion. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.